What is one of the highest human atrocities that you think that somebody could do right now? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. It shouldn't be that hard. Pretty high on that list is probably murder. Murder's pretty bad. Maybe not number one on the list. I can think of a few other things that may be up there. I'm looking at you, Griffith. But murder is really, really high on that list. Today, I'm going to be telling you why one of the highest things on the list of human atrocities is actually kind of pretty good sometimes. What do I mean by that? Well, today's topic is how some villains just don't have to be the good guy. You can kill some of them. In fact, killing them would probably be a lot better for everyone involved, maybe including them. Let me get into my point. There are probably a lot of heroes that you're thinking about that don't kill ever. Probably biggest one that comes to mind is Batman. I was going to say Spider-Man, but I don't know about you. I've played the latest Spider-Man game, 100%ed it in like 3 days, by the way. He definitely kills people. They might say he doesn't kill people. People definitely died. By the way, I did play through the whole Spider-Man, and there are clips of me doing that. I'm not a gameplay channel, nor do I really want to be a gameplay channel. But if you do want to see me playing through the game with my friend AJ as like some commentary, he will probably have either a full video up or some shorts up of me going through the game and all the funny moments of us commenting on it. I'll put up his channel right here in case you want to go check him out. But yeah, back to the topic. Let's take Batman. Batman doesn't kill, and most will say that that's morally correct. But there is a reason that heroes don't kill other than killing is bad. Because at a certain point, killing's not that bad. Let's give you an example before I get into the deep character arc of Batman himself, and one of the main points that I want to talk about, which oddly enough is My Hero Academia, where the main character refuses to kill the villain, and in my opinion, that's a very, very bad idea. Of course, I'm talking about Madorya and Shigaraki, which will be probably the semi-focus of this video. But first, I want to get into the good old trolley problem. Most of you have probably heard of the trolley problem before. Very straightforward. If you haven't heard of it, here's the whole synopsis of the trolley problem. There are 5 people tied to one lane of a train track. The train is going to run over those 5 people. But conveniently, you are right next to the train track, next to a lever, where you're able to pull the lever and derail the train? Not derail the train. You're able to pull the lever and move the train onto a different rail. Only problem being, on that different rail that it would move to, there is one person tied up. So, the obvious dilemma is, do you let the train run through the 5 people, and technically you didn't kill them, although an argument could be made that you were, a bystander and you let them die, or do you take actual full responsibility in killing one person to save 5 people? Now, I've visited the trolley problem a lot recently, and I actually share the thoughts of probably most of 5 lives is larger than 1 life. And there are a lot more people impacted by 5 people dying than 1 person dying. Now, that's a very cruel way of looking at the world, which is why this is a difficult problem to solve, because 1 life is very important. Just because there's 5 lives on the line doesn't mean that the 1 life is less important. And also, there's a problem of you cross a line, right? And what I mean by that is, if there's 5 people on this line, and then there's 1 person on this other line, and you can choose to save either or, where do you draw the line? If there were 4 people on this line, and still 1 person here, would you still choose to kill the 1 person? What if there's 3 people? What if there's 2 people? The problem becomes a lot more difficult to solve when you realize that you're drawing a line at 5 people. You are consciously saying, well, these 5 people are more valuable than this 1 person. So it's very difficult to be judge, jury, and executioner. That's all I'm saying. If you want to know my answer, obviously, I think I said this before, but I would just let the train... No, God, no. I would try to pull the lever. I would like to think I would want to pull the lever, but then again, I'm always that guy where, I never give straight answers because I'm like, I'm not in the situation. It's just in my nature. I'm sorry. Unless I'm put in a situation where I have to pick between 5 people or one person, I can't tell you 100% what I would do, but I would like to think that I would try to save the 5 people. Tell me in the comments what you would do and why. I'm actually really interested in these philosophical questions. I think it shows a lot of where we draw lines and how we think about human life. Trolley problem aside, I said all of that to what the fuck is... I said all that to establish that A, the value of human life, and B, where we draw lines according to our value of human life. Now back to Batman. Batman doesn't kill. Good thing, I guess. But there's a line that he draws, right? He doesn't kill for a reason. He doesn't kill because there's a line where he says, if I start killing, I will not stop, and it will become a problem. But he acknowledges that he should kill. He should kill the Joker. He's said this many times. I'll try to find a clip where he actually out loud says that he should kill the Joker.
No. It'd be too damned easy. All I've ever wanted to do is kill him. A day doesn't go by when I don't think about subjecting him to every horrendous torture he's dealt out to others, and then end him.
Aw, so you do think about me.
But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
Because, like the trolley problem, if he kills the Joker, which is one life, a not very valuable life, may I add. I believe that if you commit mass atrocities and your life directly negatively impacts massively the life of others, I think your life is kind of forfeit. But then again, that's also just my personal belief. You can have a different one. But, objectively, the Joker's life, which is one life, regardless of how valuable you think that life is, it is one life against the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives that Joker takes away or just directly harms. He understands that it's for the greater good if Joker dies, whether that be by his hand or not. If Joker dies, that's a good thing. He knows that. The only reason he doesn't kill Joker is for other personal reasons. Why is this important for my hero in the discussion of villains and trying to save them? I believe that Shigaraki is deserving of death. Like, he deserves to be killed. And there's a very valid argument of, well, people get better. People change. And that's true. People do change. There are examples of some people don't, but some people do. I don't think it's dogma. I don't think everyone can change. I also don't think everyone's incapable of change. I think we are very fluid people. We are all different. So there's no dogma between us. We can either change if we want to or not change if we don't want to. If that's in our nature, cool. If it's not, cool. I don't know if it... That's the funny thing about change. You don't know if it's in someone's nature because they haven't changed yet. For example, in the very same anime, My Hero... By the way, pretty decently big manga spoilers coming up. So if you're not semi-fully caught up, this might be a slight spoiler to you, but it's nothing huge. Toga and Uraraka, sorry, I was blanking out on her name for some reason, they get into a fight. During the fight, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of things that happen during the fight, but by the end of the fight, Toga and Uraraka come to an understanding and kind of bond a little bit, and Toga doesn't change per se, but they come to an understanding and make it so she knows herself better and is actually deemed to be not that bad of a person, just misunderstood. That's an example of someone changing, and Toga has done horrible things, very, very bad things, but there's a reason, and there was a miscommunication between Toga and overall society, and there's a message there, and she does change. Toga doesn't deserve to die. She deserves to be locked up, she deserves consequences for her actions, but Toga doesn't deserve to die. Especially since Uraraka kind of handled her. Slight spoilers there, but like, Uraraka's kind of fucking goated, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I think Toga is a rare example of a very well-written villain in My Hero. And that's not to hate on My Hero. I think Koei Horikoshi makes amazing characters. Some of like the best side characters in manga right now, maybe like besides Black Clover, he makes very, very compelling characters. But when it comes to the villains, I just don't think he makes them the same way that he does the heroes. But I do think Toga's a very well written character. Moving on to someone like, before I get to Shigaraki, moving on to someone like Dobby. Now, Dobby, I think Dobby deserves to die. Now, you might be saying, wait, hold on, like, just like Toga, there was misunderstandings in his situation, and there's a reason for what he's doing, and I agree with all of it. There is a difference between Toga and Dobby. Toga has a genetic disposition that makes her misunderstood by society and doesn't want to be bad in a way. She kind of doesn't know what she's doing is bad until she does and she's too far in, and Uraraka sort of brings her back. To me, that makes it so Toga is misunderstood and doesn't really deserve to die. Dobby is very, very different. Dobby, while yes, having a lot of emotional trauma and a lot of things that happened to his childhood that really shouldn't happen to anybody, I will say that they're villains for a reason. They have things that happen to him that suck. The difference between them is Dobby knows what he's doing is wrong, right? He does it because it's wrong. He does it either to get the attention of Endeavor, or he does it just because it's bad and he's bad now, whatever, lashing out at society. He does bad things and knows they're bad. And let me be clear, just because things happen to you during childhood or bad things happen to you does not give you an excuse to then harm other people with your trauma. You are able to express yourself, and no one's doubting what you've gone through is a horrible thing. But that does not give you the right to then harm other people. You are then crossing a line. I think when you start harming other people, you then open the door to being harmed yourself. Dobby is a psychopath. He genuinely murders people just for fun. When we first get introduced to Dobby, he is said to just burn people up. No reason. He has this deep-rooted hatred for just everybody. And Dobby, maybe like in 10 years he's capable of change. Maybe in 20 years he's capable of change. But how many people would he have killed by then? How many people would he have hurt? How many people would have been grieving by then over somebody that is self-righteous in their pursuit of hurting other people just because something bad happened to them? Random people have nothing to do with that. There is no... And it's like, Jeremy, you're stating the obvious. Like, obviously, this is just true. But my problem becomes when they're villains for a reason, because they're bad people. My problem comes when the heroes, the people that are meant to protect the people, the innocent people that have nothing to do with this vendetta that the villain has, decide, oh, I can save him, or I can help this psychopath. And they might be right. Like, yes, you potentially could save Dobby. But how many people are you going to let die? Like, how many people is he going to hurt? How many times is he going to go on a rampage? Just because you're not strong enough to end his life. And it's not like Batman, where he has these deep internal reasons as to why he can't kill people. Batman is a fucking psychopath himself. He knows that if he starts killing people, he's going to go further into that hole. There are characters that can kill and understand that that's what's necessary. Case in point, Hawks. He kills twice. He knows it's a bad thing that he killed him. He struggles with the fact that he killed him. But at the back of his mind, he knows he had to. Because people would have died. And people would have gotten hurt if Twice didn't die. And I liked Twice. He was a really fun character to watch. But when Hawks killed him, I go, yes, good. Thank God. Like, yes, please. Because that's what the heroes are supposed to do. They're supposed to make the hard calls. And especially if they're backed organized government. These heroes are trained. It's not like vigilantes where they're go out and playing judge, jury, and executioner. These heroes are employed. They are trained. They know what they're doing, and they know when something needs to happen and when something doesn't need to happen. At least they should know that. And from everyone I've seen in the Hero Academy, dude, all of them are like highly trained and strategists. The heroes in My Hero can put together a plan that's damn near foolproof and is only cracked by the villains getting a unforeseen crazy power up. Okay, now, like 15 minutes into the video, let's talk about the two main devices of why this video is being made. Shigaraki and Madorya. I like Madorya as a main character. A lot of people say that they don't. A lot of people say that he's basic. I would argue that a main character is supposed to be basic in a way, and I think Madorya is interesting enough where I'm like, yeah, this is a cool main character. Funny how it took him 3 seasons to learn how to kick, but regardless of that overplayed joke, I think he's great. Shigaraki also serves as a decent main villain, by which he does a lot of harm. He is very chaotic, and he's unpredictable. Kind of like how, I'm making a lot of Batman references. I'm not a huge Batman fanboy, I swear. But kind of how the Joker is, where he's chaotic, you can't predict his next move, and he's just very unstable. Which is good traits in a villain. That's what they should be, because they're villains, they're bad people. My problem with Shigaraki comes with Midoriya saying he can save him, which is mind-boggling to me. I would have been on board if he said that before the whole integration with All For One, like when he got out of the septic tank. Before all that, maybe. Shigaraki is very mentally ill. He is, by all intents and purposes, crazy. And there's a lot of things there that maybe can be fixed. Like maybe we can go into his childhood trauma, and like maybe if he gets a bit more of a father figure that actually loves him, it'll bring something out in Shigaraki that we haven't seen before, and he'll, you know, I guess, go towards the path of being someone better. The problem came after he woke up from that tank. He got up and, by all intents and purposes, nuked the city, murdered hundreds, definitely caused proper damage, definitely ruined people's lives. He did all of that with a smile on his face. Throughout the entire series, there is not a time where Shigaraki isn't just planning on hurting people. There is not a time where he doesn't just want to hurt people, like, ever. He expresses no other want other than the one time that he said he wanted to play League of Legends. Like, there is nothing else to his character other than hurting people. And yes, he has like this traumatized past, which, mind you, I get that he killed the first half of his family by complete accident, and he was angry at his father, and that's why he killed him. That still doesn't change that when he killed his father, he had a smile on his face, that he burnt the whole thing to the ground. I'm sure it bothers him emotionally, but there isn't very much remorse in a person that's murdering someone with a smile on their face. That's just my opinion. Maybe you interpreted that differently, but like, let's throw that aside. After that, Shigaraki just murders people all willy-nilly and has a good time while doing it. He has a good time giving people and dishing out pain. And that is one of the things that I think is just either doesn't change or is very difficult to change. And like I said before, if you openly hurt people, you are now opening yourself up to being hurt in pretty much the same way that you did it. Let's say you say something mean to somebody. You are now opening yourself up to getting something mean said back to you. If you hit somebody, you are now opening yourself up to being hit. If you kill hundreds of thousands of people, you are now opening yourself up to being killed yourself. So I don't understand. This character that before this has shown zero remorse, has shown zero humanity, has shown their very easy ability to hurt people and have a good time while hurting people, I don't get the sentiment of I'm going to save this person because I saw the child in him that one time. It is crazy to me how that is even a thought process, and how people commend Midoriya for not wanting to kill the mass murderer. I've said this in previous videos, but like Shigaraki is pretty much the equivalent of like My Hero's Hitler, where he just straight out murders people he just doesn't like, does so with a smile on his face, and says he's doing it for a better cause, which he's not. There is no better cause for Shigaraki. Like, there is no world dominant. He just wants things to burn to the ground. I think he's literally said he just wants to destroy everything. Which, to me, there is no saving someone like that. There is just putting them down for the benefit of everyone else. And I don't think it harms the story. Well, I do think it harms the story. I don't think it just harms the story that Midoriya wants to save Shigaraki for some reason and doesn't want to put an end and just kill him. It doesn't just hurt the story, it also hurts Midoriya's character because it's not very coherent. It just doesn't make sense. It makes sense because he's a child. And like, you as a kid have this ideal optimism of everyone's a good guy and everyone can be saved and murder is bad, and no matter what, murder is bad and you cannot kill anyone because that's a bad thing. Because you were told that's a bad thing, or maybe you're just a very justice-fueled kid, which Midoriya definitely is. But I think throughout the series, we've had glimpses into Midoriya getting an insight on realism. Throughout the series, we get him maturing more, and he's had very good character development. He has grown more grizzled in a way where he can endure more, and he becomes very emotionally available, where he learns that he has to rely on people, and he learns how the real world works as the story progresses. I feel like it's a very, I don't know, just slap in the face of his character development to turn around and say, well, he now has this childish ideal that no one ever deserves to die, and that he can save everyone and do all good without having some people have to die. I feel like it doesn't really correlate with the theme so far of Midoriya is maturing into a full-fledged real-life hero. I think it very much just sabotages his character. On top of that, I don't think it's a very commendable thing to just not kill the main villain. Just like Batman doesn't believe it's a very commendable thing. I would say Spider-Man, but I think there is instances in the comics where Spider-Man just decides, I'm just gonna kill this guy. Like, because sometimes that's the right thing to do, and it's a very morally gray area, and I would love to hear everyone's opinions, but it's just, I think you have to ask, or when you're making a character, you have to ask where they draw the line. And with Midoriya, and in stories like this, because a lot of other stories do this, where the main character will just refuse to kill people just because killing is bad. When there's not a line, Midoriya doesn't have a line. Killing is bad. Full stop. There is no line they can cross. There is nothing they can do. There is no thing that they can muster up where killing won't be bad. That is it for him. There is no line. There is no line that the villain can cross. It makes your character, I don't know, a lot more two-dimensional and a lot less real, because for all of us, I would imagine, there is a line. There is, even though you, like, most people might not want to admit it, or maybe it's very hard to even find where it is. You might not know where it is. But there is one, there is a line someone can cross where you go, okay, this person has to die. There is a line, and the trolley problem makes it so we realize, oh, there is a line. At 5 people, I'm okay with sacrificing one. That's the line. And maybe for you, that's not the line. But what happens if it's 6 people? What happens if it's 10? What if it's 20 people on that one train track? And if you pull the lever, only one person dies. there's a line? What if it's 100? Like, you have one. Everyone has one. Maybe it's not 5 people, but like I said before, maybe it's more. When the character doesn't have that line, it makes them a lot less relatable. It makes them a lot less human, and it makes them a lot more, oh, this is just like this comic book character in this thing, and they're just like all good, and they're pretty much perfect. Which I know Midoriya isn't. Midoriya, like I said before, I like his character. But I feel like it would be much stronger if, I don't know, if he just decided to kill Shigaraki. I feel like it would be just the right thing to do for him and for the story, because I don't think there are any redeeming qualities to Shigaraki. There are no indications of change, and he's done too much harm. But anyways, that is my big spiel on why killing is good. Jesus Christ. That is my big spiel on the moral gray area of having to kill for the greater good. I would love to know your opinions. I'm loving My Hero so far. I am almost fully caught up with the manga, and I just had my thoughts about the villains like I do. I made one previous video about the villains before that I wanted to share. Again, check out my friend AJ's channel for the Spider-Man stuff. He's probably going to post that soon. And I will see you guys next time, where I will try to post a video sooner. I hope you had a good morning. I'll see you.